Hello and welcome to Awake Ones. My name's Lorraine Flaherty.
I'm Sally Poinsetnash.
I'm Alexandra, Wenman.
And today we'd like to introduce our very special guest, Stacy, who is an extraordinary woman that I've known for many years, and even trying to describe who she is and what she does has proved to be, because there's just so much. There's just so much. And so we just really wanted to share with the audience some of the magic that she is creating here in this world.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here, and it's exciting. I've known little bits and pieces about you ladies getting together and really just, what did you call it, going on a spiritual tangent. My favorite thing in the world to do. And it's so much fun because we actually start wrapping all these ideas and like pulling them from the field and being able to share them. So I'm really excited and feel very honored to be here.
We're
very honored to have you. Extraordinary goddesses. Thank you.
So shall we start with the latest and then we can sort of jump back, because you've just come back from somewhere that I think is becoming it's becoming very apparent that it's a important place right now.
It's a hotbed.
It's definitely a hotbed of good stuff going on. So you're currently living in Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to share with us a little bit about what's happening out there?
Well, it's interesting how when you're ready, Spirit will land you in places that you could never imagine. Like, I definitely knew I needed to live by the water, really, really warm weather, and in a place where it was just beautiful and great energy. And all of a sudden I got offered this position and says, hey, by the way, it's in Costa Rica. So I was like, okay. And I'm really grateful and blessed that I have an incredibly conscious husband who lets me, go for 2 to 3 months at a time. And it's really helping me to see how we're creating new ways of relating. We're letting go of the old stories of how we need to show up, and we're actually creating or allowing new stories of how we want to live and thrive on the planet. And that's really exciting. It's taken a long time. I just had my 50th birthday. So it's taken a long time to get to a point of being thrilled about being on this planet and connecting with, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do here now. And I think that's such a huge major shift that's for myself. And I can see that so many people in the world are searching for that. They're really searching for their purpose. And let me tell you, it will come. Relaxed, just rest into it, and it will show up, and you'll be amazed. It will be nothing like you think it's supposed to be, and I think it's a surrender. So you were mentioning earlier about all these things that I do. I think we all have like a medicine bag right now filled with goodies and tools, and we continually put more things in it. And that's the wonderful thing about becoming multi-dimensional beings, is that we have a lot of tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't fit into a box anymore.
Hell no.
And we're able to share these, but how do we use these tools, without hinging ourselves into a box or a label?
Yeah.
But to allow them to really blossom so that we can use them at any given moment. Some days I'm a holistic chef, and some days I'm an energy reader, and some days I'm working on some crazy new technology, and some days I'm just sitting and holding space, and some days I'm literally a housewife, or being a stepmom, or, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's helped me to understand that that's what multidimensionality means. It means that we are these incredible fractals inside of fractals inside of fractals, and we can access everything. And what better time to really be able to sit into that?
It's so
And
true.
rock it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
We were talking just a minute ago, weren't we, about DNA and accessing more of our dormant DNA.
Yeah.
And I think we're at a time where we're really seeing evidence of that waking up. Like, the gifts that are unfolding, like, I know I always think of myself as my own guinea pig, and the gifts that are unfolding is like stuff that you couldn't do before we're now able to do. And I know that a lot of us are feeling each other on a very deep level and feeling each other's emotions. And I think we're really just one step away from full telepathic communication.
Yes.
And it's part of our birthright, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Teleportation, I'm coming to Costa Rica.
No planes, just straight there.
Do you materialise? Rematerialise. Maybe a bit slimmer.
Yeah.
But no judgment on the vessel, you know. Sorry, now I'm on a spiritual tangent. It's just press play and go.
So some of the do you want to talk a little bit? I know you can't share too much because it's kind of new technology, but do you want to talk a little bit about the...
Well, there's a rage right now with stem cells,
Yeah.
you know, and they're everywhere. And they often pop up in countries where they don't have huge regulations, you know, and as, you know, my base of my incarnation is America, but I've been all over this planet. You know, we have a lot of problems with a lot of the, you know, FDA, and being able to the honor to work in another country on a new technology is just extraordinary. Let me tell you, you have to be so careful what you ask for now because you will get it. And I said I wanted to work on the cutting edge with cutting edge people, really working on the tip of the arrow, new paradigm, you know, really bring about change on the planet. And I found myself working with this couple that you probably have heard of that created the Thrive movement movie, Kimberly and Foster, Clark Gamble, and I actually work with them in Costa Rica, and they couldn't be more on the tip of the arrow with what they're doing. And so, you know, when I found myself in that position, I realized that I asked for this, and stem cell. Anything, you know, moving with these cells in our body, it's incredible. It's like we're literally waking up.
Yeah.
You know, we're waking up and we are waking up.
Yeah.
Our bodies are actually waking up. And to learn about how we have these incredible little teeny little beings inside of us, and each one of these cells holds the blueprint of our original being. And they're just sitting inside of us waiting for time to say it's time to really wake up and to be who you really are and who you came to be.
Yeah.
So
Without all of the
it's
info and all the
exciting.
stuff that's embedded in our learning and everything that we've experienced. Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm sure I've mentioned this many times before, you know, this idea that in the past scientists have talked about junk DNA.
Yeah.
Which I just find such an insult, really, because like this complicated system is ever going to have anything that isn't necessary. And I think that junk DNA just means that it's beyond their capacity to understand. And I've always thought that that was going to contain the information about who we are as eternal beings and all the... That's, I'm sure, what we're tapping into when we go into the past life stuff.
Absolutely.
It's that additional layer of information, but this idea now, because a lot of the work that we do anyway, I mean, your work is rebranding DNA, so it's kind of on the practical, we're all involved in it in some way. It hadn't occurred to me that there might actually be, instead of having to go in and reprogram the information in the DNA that's been corrupted, which I feel is a huge part of the work that I do in the hypnosis, is to access that. But the idea that there could be cells in there that didn't absorb all of that negativity, that are neutral, that are just as they were supposed to be, brand new,
Holding all that
were asleep when all the other chaos was going on and being downloaded, is very, very exciting, because it means potentially if you can go in and speak to those cells and actually tell them it's time to wake up, who knows what's possible. And this is...
You could grow an arm back. It's like proper
well, I mean, some
regeneration.
people have, haven't they?
But how does that work with the cells that have been corrupted and absorb the experiences, and you've got like these brand new ones and these corrupted
Maybe
ones?
they teach the other cells like
that's what
100
I'm thinking.
monkeys.
Exactly. If
It's
I
brand.
was just thinking of that. I mean, we the implications of what can happen are just endless, and we're still so new out of, you know, we're learning moment by moment, but intuitively we know.
Yeah.
And I think the more that even scientists, because there are a lot of scientists, like scientists have now recognized that it's not junk DNA.
Exactly.
They finally have come around the curve and said, oh my God, these are information packets. It's like, yes. And we're learning how to now access these. And I think as we move through time, which is, you know, yesterday, we will have information accessible to us. Like there's this whole new concept that I'm learning called the innate. And I can't say that I perfectly have it worded, but from what I'm feeling that it is that there is actually a consciousness, an intelligence that's within us. And it's that interface that works with the body, and it's also the interface of source, you know, where we're actually tapping into our wider birth of wisdom. And once we really understand this innate part of ourselves, it's that we're going to be interfacing with, and it's that that's going to integrate the physical form as well as our higher dimensional form. You know, it's like when someone has an accident and they become paralyzed. Ideally, in a scientific, what medicine will say is nothing in their bodies should work, because everything, our brain is doing everything in our bodies. But oftentimes, and we've been working a lot with people that are paralyzed and watching incredible things happening as these stem cells are actually rejuvenating their bodies. There's certain parts of the body that are still working. Right. So a person could actually sever their spinal cord, but yet the heart is still beating.
Yeah.
The sexual functions are still working. They're still breathing. So what are they connected to?
Yeah.
So they're saying that it's a heart intelligence.
Right.
So that this brain isn't just here.
Yeah.
The brain is in the heart, and scientists are saying that the brain might be our second. Our heart might be our second brain.
Yeah,
that's
the
actually
third brain as well.
Exactly. That's my second.
It's meant to be in our solar plex as well. So all of these systems are, in a sense, we use the term coming online, but I also like to think that they've always been there. But what's happening is we're not so much activating as much as we're releasing what already is. The intelligence is already there, and it's having this conversation. I think earlier we were speaking about you having a conversation with yourselves.
Yeah.
And the importance of really talking to these aspects of our bodies. And that if we bring in this innate intelligence, and it's waiting. It's almost like it's waiting for us to hey, just have a conversation with me and I will work for you.
It already is. A lot of us that are sort of a little bit, I suppose, God, it's hard, you can't really say it, and it's not like saying that we're further along, we know more, but it's like been on the path for a while. You find that you are peeling back sort of layers and getting into a clearer, I call it a clearer channel of communication or connection with the higher self and with the body elemental, the body intelligence. What I'm finding in sessions with people is that their body does speak to me. It will speak to me. It will show me where to go, where there's stuck energy, trapped energy. And it's not so much about, getting rid of it, although it's kind of like pulling it out, but it's more about just being aware of it.
Sure. And
it feels like a clearing to make space for more rejuvenation, renewal. And, I get shown sort of where there needs to be DNA that needs to be activated, and sometimes where there's old DNA that actually I get guidance to deactivate. So it is like a switching off of certain programs and a flicking the switch on, newer information coming through. It's really fascinating because I come fully from the spiritual side, I suppose. I'm not trained in the scientific, but it's so interesting hearing the science behind it and matching the two up.
Well, it's fascinating because I've never been a science person. Like I've always been like, of course, because you just know. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I'm finding from my experience is integrating the science is really giving much more of a solid base for me to actually be approachable to many people. The people that come and visit us in our clinic, a lot of them are more scientific than they haven't really tapped into that intuition of that knowing. So how do you bridge the gap so that through the science you're actually saying you're actually this being. You've been this being first and foremost. And it's been a beautiful way to for myself to learn to actually help people to move into the guidance. Because, you can have these treatments, but if you don't do the work, you gotta have another treatment and you gotta have another treatment, How do we move from something externally healing us to realizing it's internal? Even as healers, how do we help, the people that come and work with us that you can do this yourself. You know, and if you don't do the work, because we're all doing the work 24/7, that's what helps the rejuvenation of our DNA, for us to understand more of what our innate is, to really work with ourselves and our bodies, to really stop aging. I absolutely know that we can, you know, stop this, reverse it, because it's just a story.
Yeah. And one that has been, it's just been perpetrated, isn't it? There's just this expectation, but even if you think, I remember growing up and thinking that people that were 50, 60 were really old.
Oh my God, you two look younger than me.
We're old. And if you were 70, I mean, 70 was, you know, little old ladies and, you know, and now I'm 52, and it's like, I don't know how that happened. And I look at my mum, who's, you know, mid-70s, who just, you know, she's out dancing, she's out partying, shit, and fabulous, absolutely amazing. So even now, I think the story of age has changed.
Yeah.
It has become acceptable for women and men to still be fabulous, to still be glamorous, and to still look incredible right up. I mean, look at Joan Collins.
Look at all the supermodels. I mean, they're still super.
Yeah.
Really super.
Yeah.
But even Joan Collins, who must be nearly 80 now, and she's still fabulous.
Yes.
Because I think if you tell yourself, God, you know, I've not really been interested in age, I think.
Yeah.
But if you look after yourself on lots of different levels, and you just dismiss it, it's not a thing that I think. I mean, occasionally when, you know, bits get a little bit saggier, you know, I have the odd moment of I'm just going to hide that bit, but that's all right. I'm loving my body now. But it does make a difference. It is obviously connected to the state of mind.
Yes, definitely. And as we understand that, that's when we're actually being able to tell ourselves a different story.
Yeah.
And, you know, I believe it's every 7 years we completely everything renews.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why isn't it just renewing? And something that came across the other day that I thought was really fascinating. You know when you get some new information, it just kind of slaps you sideways, and you're like, I don't know what that was, but that was right. So I'm going to see if it will move back to the surface. I'd say one of the reasons why we age is because the cells that are copying themselves are copying the same old tired program.
Right, of course.
They're not copying a new program. And it's also because conceptually we only can understand so much in this third dimension.
Yeah.
That's you know, we literally hit a wall. And so certain concepts are like, what? Because we just don't have the bandwidth to be able to stretch beyond that. However, we're in a time period now where our ability to conceptualize new information is expanding. Therefore, that has to move into our cellular system.
Yeah.
That's where it's activating that DNA that's already there. That's now we have to get to a point where we're actually, when the cells copy, we're actually copying a new program.
Yeah.
And that new program will allow the telomeres, which really helps us on the cells to stay long, because it's something around the longer the telomere, the healthier you are, the more the rejuvenation slows down. Babies have extremely long telomeres on their stem cells. You know, as we age, they get shorter and shorter and shorter, because as they copy, it gets shorter.
Right.
Every time they,
Yeah.
you know. So when we understand this now, we can literally go in, see ourselves, and go, okay, hey, this needs to open. And I think we're going to get really, really, really good at this.
It's amazing. I had a blood test at a, what was it, like a health detox retreat kind of thing in Italy. She did a blood prick test. I don't know if it's the same thing, but she was looking at the blood, and I had to do a fingerprint, and she stretched it out. She could actually tell exactly what my lifestyle was like from, say, 10, 20 years ago. And she could see, oh, you're getting healthier and healthier, actually. You're better. You used to drink a lot back here. And, you know, like, she saw my party lifestyle. So that is so fascinating. It's kind of like it maps the changes.
Yeah.
And within that is, again, this packet waiting to be accessed. And sometimes, you know, people will say, well, how come we haven't accessed them before? Well, I don't think we were consciously ready.
No.
You know, it's like, you know, understanding nuclear energy. Well, we did well with that. So imagine us having information that we just didn't know what to do with. We probably would have, you know,
It has no
floated
value.
ourselves.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, everything has to happen at a certain time,
Yeah.
otherwise,
There's an intelligence behind it. It's a divine intelligence.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
almost not us, it's not our human decision to be
Yes.
like, oh, let's open this box,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Pandora's box.
Right.
So you can really see the beauty of this is the right time,
Yeah.
you know, and for us to be able to release any kind of anxiety or anxiousness about not having that information before. This is the right time. Like we're perfectly on point where we need to be.
I think it does pose a bigger planetary issue though with space and how people, a growing population, you know, if that growing population wakes up in its entirety, that does pose quite a few challenges. You know, and there's obviously people that would want to control that population, and yeah, it's really interesting the work you're doing.
So, who knows?
But it's almost like it has to go quick.
Yes.
It has to.
Yeah. Because, you know, we're at a really fabulous time period where we have crossed over a really big, huge mark of we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's, you know, I was speaking to a friend this morning. He goes, I have no idea where I'm going to be in the next 6 weeks. I'm like, it's okay. We're not supposed to know that anymore. I said, we're actually, this is the time period where we're sitting in complete trust and knowing that all of our needs are met at any given moment. And that's a practice in itself.
Yeah.
Some days that's my only practice is all my needs are met right now. That's free.
We almost need to. I had a session with someone this morning, and I was working on this unknown. This I need to know, but I don't need to know. I don't need to know, but I need to know. And then finding this point, and I went into this journey, and at the end of it, I kind of looked up and went, I know the unknown. I was like, what had appeared as infinite darkness became infinite light. And I didn't need to know what it meant, and didn't need to know what it was, but I just knew, I know the unknown now. It's like, I get it. It shows that there's the divine in everything, right? So this point of, wow, it's another frontier that we haven't explored yet, but there's so much potential there. And as we know, potential is the beginning of creation. So
we spoke a few weeks back, and you know, with Al's ability to see what's happening,
I went, I can't see what's coming up.
I was like, welcome to being human.
It's really strange. I cannot see my future. Sally's like, they're like the rest of us. It's disconcerting.
Yeah.
But I know the unknown now, so it's all fine.
Yeah, but living on that kind of the brim of the hill,
Yeah.
it's a great place to be.
It's
Yeah.
exciting.
It is, yeah.
You've got to find like a,
Yeah, just let go and
you know, if you go over the hill and you're just like, it's not so great. You just know there's another
It's
brim
rolled
of another
down it.
hill, and it, you know, just constantly, that's rejuvenating itself,
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah. And that's part of it, isn't it? That we've obviously talked about this in different ways, but it's about your experience in any given moment is going to determine your future experiences, and everything that is going on around you is going to be impacted by what you're experiencing, and therefore the outcome of the future events is impacted by that. So the only responsibility we have really is to find that way to be in our highest and best state.
In this now.
In the now moment, because everything else is a reflection of it.
Right.
So keeping the energy high and staying in that energy of love. And again, coming back to the DNA thing, so I'm really conscious that there is this idea that I've worked with a lot, and it makes a lot of sense in the transformations, in the work that happens, is that cells are, the energy in cells, the information encoded in cells is holographic. So everything that we've ever experienced is encoded in that moment in time. And so the exciting thing about this is the idea that if we are waking up those sleeper cells, that are the original blueprint, doesn't necessarily mean that you even have to access or wake up a lot of them, because even once a few, even one is open, that information is going into every other cell and is going to then start influencing.
And I do think our part of meeting that is, again, sitting in deep trust and surrender, being very receptive to receiving, and not needing to control what's going to show up. And as we know as humans, that's 99.9% of our practice, right? And then our bodies are able to, if it's one cell, and if we're all connected, there's only a small portion of us that need to become fully online. And then it's just bing, 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 you know. And
a billion monkeys.
It just happens.
7 billion.
All washing fruit.
And the new babies that are coming in.
Oh gosh,
will come in. I was reading somewhere the new babies are going to come in instinctual.
Yeah, they'll already know.
They'll know how to eat. They'll know how to walk. They'll know how to talk.
They already are, actually. A lot of them are coming in
terrifying. When you see them now at a very young age and they say something, you're like, did that come out of you? This little being,
And they're remembering their previous lifetimes already.
Yeah.
Some of these kids.
Our little friend Coral, 2 years old, we asked her the other day where she got her belly button from. The fairies. That's what she said.
Yeah. Arms outstretched.
Yeah. The fairies. Oh. So it's just,
I think we could talk on this topic probably about a few hours easily without needing a bathroom break. So maybe we should wrap this one and should we do another one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the adventures of DNA and all the possibilities that
it's our rejuvenation
to do with that. Fascinating.
It is. So, I know I was making jokes about Jurassic Park, but Costa Rica is the place for cellular research. What are you creating down there, Stacy? It's a new species of human.
But an upgraded version.
Yeah. We're getting our upgrades.
Upgrades, we need it.
I'm looking for that.
Well, Stacey, thank you so much for
Thank you.
training us, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.